Unbelievable. Phil Keir hurt Kenny. Those bastards. Right, boys. Focus in again. We want to win this League Cup. Come on, boys. It's a final. Let's focus again. Oh, God. We're playing Bayern too. That's not going to be good. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 129 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode for the first time, we are in the quarterfinals of the Champions League and we are taking on Bayern Munich of Germany. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, which also does include a recap of the last few stages of the League Cup as well as the NxGn list for 2032, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we are in the quarterfinals of the Champions League off the back of yesterday's episode. That was the second leg of the first knockout round against AC Milan. If you missed that, I'll leave a link to it in the top right corner. It was the former AC Milan man himself, Chaka Traore, who did get the deciding goal there in the home league after we did pick up a 2-2 draw away from home a couple of episodes ago. And we did have the draw for both the quarterfinal and the semi-final off the back of that. And we have got the team who defeated us a few seasons ago when we were last in the knockouts of the Champions League in Bayern Munich. Their team looking quite similar to what it was back then, and we've improved quite a bit since then as well. So this is going to be interesting, but we are certainly outsiders going into this one, taking on a 5-star reputation club, a club that has absolutely bossed the Bundesliga ever since this save did start, like they have been in real life recently as well. So this is going to be a really, really tough test here. If we can get past Bayern Munich, we'll start to get a little bit of belief potentially about what we could do here this season at Völsungur in the Champions League. But even then, we have been drawn in the semi-final to play the winner of Manchester City versus Real Madrid. But a tough test for us today. We're going to show you guys both legs and see how we get on against the team. So if we go and have a look at the data hub and check on our past meetings, you'll be able to see they beat us pretty comprehensively 2 years ago. We lost 4-1 in the home league. That really put pay to any dreams that we did have. And then we lost 1-0 away from home, and that was not helped by a Hans Nicolosi Caviglia red card. But the main issue that we do have going in to today's game does come off the back of the latter stages of the Deal to Bakar. We did win it in the end very, very comfortably, picking up a 6-0 win in the semi-final against Valorek. That was largely thanks to a hat-trick from Kalen Rakasa. And then we beat Phil Keir in the final. They got past HK in the other semi-final on penalties, and we beat them fairly comfortably 5-1 as well. And that was quite satisfying because unfortunately in that game, we lost one of our key players in Kenny Boreal. You can see there he picked up an injury. Phil Keir nearly killed Kenny, those bastards. So unfortunately, he's not going to be available for these ties coming up against Bayern Munich with not too much of a gap in between the legs here in the quarterfinals. He has a twisted ankle, which doesn't sound like too bad of an injury, but he is out for 7 days to 3 weeks. Something else to keep in mind for the first leg anyway. Elias Anderson is not an option for us on the bench either, as he has a tight hamstring. Only out for one more day, but we do have good depth there at centre-back. But going back in time just a little bit, something to cover off before we do get into this first leg against Bayern Munich. We have had the NxGen list for 2032. This time we've only got one player on the NxGen list, but it's good to see we're getting a little bit of consistency now with players on this list. After last year, we do have some players on it for the first time. This year is one of our newer signings here at the club in Hercules Delfino. He is ranked 34th on the NxGen list. So interesting to see he's ranked a little bit higher than Lassana Doumbia was last season. Maybe that means that this year's crop isn't quite as strong. But the other thing that we do need to take note of is there are a lot of players here who are available to sign on a free transfer or for very, very little compensation. So that is something I have certainly got on off the back of getting this article right on the day of that Deal to Bakar final. So we've got a few players that hopefully we're going to get over the line over the course of today's episode or the next little while, and that will add some good depth hopefully to our youth ranks here at Völsungur and get those young players who can become both homegrown in nation and in club here, which might help us improve the overall strength of the squad. So we've actually gone for quite a few players in amongst this top 50 because there are a lot more than last season who were available to sign on a free transfer, only being on youth contracts at their current club. So that's something that we have gone for with this NxGen list. But interesting to see that our new striker, Hercules Delfino, is ranked in 34th on this year's NxGen list. But travelling back forward, about to hop into this first leg against Bayern Munich. The first leg is going to be played at the Munich Stadium as well. One player that I thought was bringing up here for Bayern Munich, he's currently not in their starting 11. But if we go over to their squad and look at some of their backup players, Giorgio Adesi, this is a player I've had on my radar for quite some time. A few seasons ago, I had him lined up as a potential improvement on Benjamin Rubio, just when I thought we might be getting towards the stage where we had enough money to buy him. Fiorentina purchased him for the sum of £8.25 million. As soon as he went from Genoa to Fiorentina, his value rose up to about 40 odd million, and Bayern Munich a few seasons later decided that that was worth doing. So it's an interesting player, a player we nearly did bring here to Völsungur, but unfortunately at the time didn't really feel like we needed to spend that much money to upgrade at that stage on a pretty well performing Benjamin Rubio. But Giorgio Adesi is only a squad player there at Bayern Munich, but you can see that our scouting is working pretty well if we're identifying players like this, because he looks like a very, very good striker. It's going to be interesting to see how we get on against him if he gets some game time here in this tie, which we are about to play. But in terms of our team, just the one change, as I mentioned, because of that injury to Kenny Boreal, that does mean that Andy Harwood is going to be starting for us at left back. Stamatas Jatzakis comes on the bench as our backup left back. So just a few changes there in terms of downgrading our options at left back, but hopefully we can still perform well and potentially sneak our way through to the semi-finals of the Champions League, albeit, as I said, it's going to be very, very difficult against the Bayern Munich team who beat us fairly comfortably 2 seasons ago. But we'll see what we can do and come back shortly from the Munich Stadium for the first leg of these Champions League quarterfinals. And we do have TV coverage. Here's what Bayern Munich do look like. A few changes from what we did see before on the club info page, playing a 4-2-3-1, and they are starting Giorgio Adesi. So this is going to be a very interesting watch to see how he gets on here against us. There's our lineup as we ran through before, and a good result here away from home might give us a chance in the home league. And we are inside the last 5 minutes here of the first half. There have been absolutely 0 highlights so far, but as you can see from the stats, we are slightly dominating this game at the moment, albeit just as I said that, Bayern Munich did get 2 shots off there late in this first half, and they were on the attack there briefly, but Lee Van Tam does get possession back for us. Matthias Aguirre, who has been in great touch so far this Champions League campaign, holds the ball up, and we are right on the halfway line here, trying to go forward here down our left-hand side. Frederick Larsen plays that in for Rakassan. It's a poor pass, but Stephen Gold now on the ball for Bayern, but takes too much time. Good interception there from Andy Harwood. That's interesting. Rakassan with a slide tackle there on Upamecano. They have to play out from the back here. Do Bayern Munich. Yet again, great work there from Rakassan. Puts that in for Zimmerman on the volley, but just puts it over the bar. That's been the sole highlight here of the first half. But based on stats, pretty encouraging signs here away from home in Germany against a very strong Bayern Munich team, you would like to think. So that's a decent half from us. If we can keep this up in the second half, hopefully at the very least, we can go back to Iceland with the tie still being locked up. But pretty happy with how things are going here at halftime. Despite the lack of highlights, we kick off the second 45 minutes of the first leg of this quarterfinal at 0-0. And early on here in the second half, we do have a highlight. So hopefully we're going to get a bit more happening here in the second half than we did have in the first. We have a throw and try and get something going here down our left-hand side. Aguirre did have the ball inside the box. He passed it outside of it. Unfortunately, Bayern Munich briefly got possession back there, but it is cleared out to Andy Harwood, and we are back in possession inside the half here of Bayern Munich. As I said at halftime, it's been a pretty encouraging performance so far away from home, and Kalen Rakassan in behind here. Joshua Kimmich brings him down, and that is surely going to be a penalty given there by Michael Oliver. What a golden chance this is away from home to take the lead in the Champions League quarter-final. Indeed, the penalty is awarded, as you would suspect, off the back of what we did just see on screen. It is going to be the man who was brought down, and Kalen Rakassan to try and put us 1-0 up. Somehow that goes through the hands of the Bayern Munich goalkeeper. He might have given that one the Harbour Bridge because he was all over that one, but somehow it has gone straight through him. And thankfully, we make the most of that penalty. I'm really not too sure how that's got through him there, but nonetheless, it's 1-0 Völsungur after 55 minutes. We are going to make a substitution at this time, though. Frederick Larsson only on a 6.4, the hero from yesterday. Chaka Traore will come on for him for the last 35 minutes. And shortly off the back of our opener, we are down the other end as Bayern Munich do have a throw, and they look to get back into this tie on level terms, and they would be expected to do that, you'd like to think, against us here at the Munich Stadium. Some good short passing here outside the box. Great chance for Kimmich to make up for that penalty he just gave away, but blasts it wide. We are still 1-0 up, approaching the hour mark. And up to the 62-minute mark now, it is Giorgio Adesi with a free kick from just outside the box on the right-hand side, and there he shows his quality. I wish we bought him. He looks like a really, really good striker, and puts that into the top right corner. It's a set-piece goal. No stopping that for Will Lervik, and Bayern Munich do get this back 2-1, or we're going to make another change off the back of that goal too, because Matthias Aguirre up front just struggling a little bit on a 6.5 rating. We do have a good backup striker on the bench these days in Jonata, so he will come on for him for these last 26 minutes, locked up now at 1-1 in the away league. And a few minutes off the back of that equaliser to Bayern Munich, it was cleared there from their goalkeeper. We did get possession back briefly, but unfortunately, they are back in possession yet again here, Bayern Munich. Interesting to see they are picking up a lot of yellow cards that could be quite telling potentially in the second leg. With suspension, Stephen Goal gets his head on the end of that just over the bar. Still 1-1 with 20 minutes left, and we are going to make our last substitution at this time as well, because Lassana Doumbia down to a red heart. Karel Giroud to come on for him. And up to the 82-minute mark, we have a free kick here. We try and pick out someone there at the far post. Unfortunately, we can't quite link up, but Andy Harwood has a lot of time here to get possession back for us. Can we grab another goal to put us in the lead late like we did against Milan yesterday, albeit that was a tie at home? We put the ball inside the box. Jonata plays it out for Harwood. It goes out to Bassero Gay. Edge of the box, rockets that top right corner. The Senegalese defensive midfielder scores us a massive goal there. He's not known for his shooting at all, is Bassero Gay, but that is a wonderful strike to put us up 2-1 here, close to full time in this away leg. Not too sure what Jonata was doing there anyway, passing the ball from the inner box there, back outside of it, but thankfully it doesn't cost us. Bassero Gay puts us 2-1 up with only 7 minutes left, albeit it is now Bayern Munich who do have the ball from the restart. Hopefully they do not grab an equaliser shortly off the back of our goal like they did a little bit earlier. And it's now Brunet with a shot. Thankfully he puts that just over the bar. We are still 2-1 up with 6 minutes left. Now I think it's time for us to start time wasting a little bit. And we are inside injury time in this away leg. There is 5 minutes of it, and Bayern Munich do get a highlight here at the 92-minute mark. We're doing so well. It's headed to clear there by Lee Van Tam, and that does deal with that highlight, so that's a little bit interesting there. We are now inside the last minute of this away leg, and this could be a brilliant result to take back to Iceland, and indeed it is. That is full time, massively helped out there by the penalty early in the second half to Kalen Rakasana Desi with a great free kick not too long off the back of that, but then a wonderful strike from Bassero Gay is going to give us a 2-1 lead to take back to Iceland for the second leg. And all of the sudden, there's a little bit of hope in this tie against the team who did beat us, as I said, fairly comprehensively a few seasons ago. Pretty even game in terms of the stats as well, albeit when you do consider that penalty, you could argue we were a little bit lucky, but we will take that. We take a 1-goal advantage back to Iceland for the second leg of this Champions League quarter-final. In between now and then, we do have a Super Cup to play against HK. Hopefully we can get through that nice and safely, and we'll come back shortly and hopefully make the most of this lead and make our way through to our first Champions League semi-final. And we are back about to get into the second leg of the Champions League quarter-final. Unfortunately, before then, though, we do have to update you guys on a few things that did happen here in the Super Cup final. First off, we'll get through the game to explain exactly what happened. Unfortunately, this didn't go exactly how we would have wanted it, especially leading in to the second leg of a Champions League quarter-final. But HK open the scoring here very early on at the 2-minute mark here through one of our former players in Ben Musa. Diaz in goal potentially. Could have done a little bit better. Interesting to see also that Paredes, another one of our former players, with the assist there, and it took us until the 93rd minute to grab an equaliser through Bjarkisson, and that took this game to extra time, which was a little bit of a worry, of course, even though we were using our backup player Jonata on an orange injury, though very early into extra time gave us the lead, and then not too long off the back of that Galtason far post for Jonata. Yet again, his extra time double makes sure that we do win the Super Cup, but I probably would have actually preferred us to just lose that in normal time and not have to play the extra 30 minutes than be stretched out that far. But in the end, we pick up our second trophy of the season, so we might be on yet again for a domestic quadruple off the back of that extra time. 3-1 win there over HK, but encouraging signs for those guys. Hopefully this time around in the upcoming European season, whenever that does start, they can do a better job down in Conference League qualifying. But as you might have been able to tell by that little orange injury hovering over Jonata, that does mean he has picked up a niggle, as has one of our new backup goalkeepers who we did sign quite recently as well. We'll get to that a little bit later in today's video, but that means that Jonata is going to be unavailable off the bench for us in the second leg against Bayern Munich, and also Kenny Boreal isn't quite back as well, so it's one more added injury that we do have to deal with off the back of picking up that win in the Super Cup. We're going to be rolling with exactly the same starting lineup, but just having to change the bench up a little bit. Porstein Anderson will come on there for Jonata. That means that Fabio Mariano more or less is down there on the bench as our backup striker, more than as he has been as our backup midfielder come winger, but we've still got good versatility down there on the bench despite the lack of both Jonata and, of course, with those changes that we have had to make at left back. But quietly confident going to this one off the back of our home form in the Champions League this season, taking that 2-1 lead into the second leg at the Laogardas. Of We'll come back shortly and see if we can make our way through to the Champions League semi-finals. And 2 minutes into the second leg, we do have our first highlight. We showed you guys the team sheets of Bayern Munich, despite picking up a lot of yellow cards there in that first leg. Do look like they're putting out exactly the same starting 11 as well, so wasn't much point showing you guys that off the back of showing you guys our team. But Andy Howard, far post, Nicholas Zimmerman gets that under their goalkeeper yet again. Boy, oh boy, he could have kept out a fair few more shots than he has so far in this quarter-final, but that is a brilliant start. We now have a 2-goal advantage here in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Andy Howard, he is stepping up big time without Kenny Boreal. Nicholas Zimmerman far post puts us 1-0 up on the day, 3-1 up on aggregate. And only a few minutes left here in this first half. Not many highlights yet. Again, Bayern Munich try to pump that deep, but as per usual, our centre-backs do step up and get the ball back for us. Nice ball there from Matthias Aguirre. Frederick Larsen tries to take that around the Bayern Munich goalkeeper. This time he stays upright and parries that out for a corner. Can we absolutely potentially put this tie to bed before half-time? Ali Ramadan puts that just over the bar, and it does look like we are going to be going in to half-time here with a 1-0 lead, but I am very, very happy with how things are going. You can tell there by the stats, we are yet again slightly outperforming Bayern Munich at halftime, so no changes needed. We are 2 goals up with only 45 minutes left of this quarterfinal tie. And a couple of minutes into the second half, it is Bayern Munich here on the ball. They try and play a long ball forward there to the promising young striker in Adesi, but we get on the end of it and try and get them here on the counter-attack. Rakasan plays that back to Andy Howard. A really good assist from him for that first goal so far. It's fair to say not missing out on Kenny Boreal too much, albeit hopefully if the scoreline does remain the way it is, he will be available for the semi-final. Howard again going far post for Zimmerman, but this time puts it over the bar. Still 2 goals up though early in the second half. And up to the 69-minute mark, it's been a pretty quiet game so far highlight-wise, but considering the situation, we don't mind that at all. The goal scorer, Nicholas Zimmerman, is down to a red heart, so Chaka Traore will come on for him. We'll just adjust our opposition instructions here for these last 20 minutes. Still 2 goals up in the Champions League quarter-final second leg. And 5 minutes off the back of our first substitution, we're going to make our second one. Lassana Doumbia yet again down to a red heart. Karel Giroux to come on for him. And only a few minutes off the back of that second substitution. Free kick here for Bayern Munich. It does go just over the bar, but we are holding on for now to our 2-goal lead. Still up with 14 minutes left. And we're going to make our last substitution as well. Ali Ramadan on a yellow card, no risk needed. Thiago Polo will come on for him for these last 12 minutes. And shortly off the back of that last substitution, it's a long ball over the top there for Stephen Goal, but fresh off the bench, Thiago Polo does snuff that out, and we get it up to Matthias Aguirre. Can we absolutely seal this here with a goal inside the last 10 minutes almost? And we are starting to go forward here through Basaroge. Chakachare puts that bottom right corner. We might just have to wait and see here for a VAR check. This would give us 2 wins over Bayern Munich. It would absolutely guarantee it, and that could be quite big in terms of the coefficient, picking up 2 wins in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Unfortunately, Traore, though, is offside, so the scoreline is going to remain 1-0 on the day, 3-1 on aggregate, but there's only 10 minutes left in this quarterfinal. And we are about to enter injury time in this game. We have started time wasting from the 85-minute mark, unless there is a big late collapse here. I think we are making our way through to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Indeed, that is the case, and we get revenge on Bayern Munich for a few seasons ago when they knocked us out in the first knockout round. That, of course, was the first time we made the knockouts of the Champions League, but that is a great performance over both leagues. Yet again, they did pick up a lot of yellow cards, especially at the back, so that is interesting there from Bayern Munich, but this time we get a couple over them, being them in both legs. That win away in Munich, absolutely crucial, and we go through 3-1 on aggregate to the semi-finals, and we better go through and see now exactly who we are going to be playing in those semi-finals, whether it was Manchester City or Real Madrid, who won the tie that we needed to keep an eye out on, as PSG have got through over Arsenal in the other tie on our match day. But we are through to the semi-finals of the Champions League for the first time. And these are the results from all those ties in the quarterfinals. As you saw before, PSG defeated Arsenal 3-2 on aggregate. We went through 3-1 over Bayern Munich. Still can't quite believe that, if we're being honest, but we might be about to get a big reality check, because Real Madrid defeated Manchester City 4-2 in the semi-final that we needed to keep an eye out on. Chelsea have also defeated Juventus. So the semi-finals of this year's Champions League are going to be PSG versus Chelsea and Real Madrid versus Völsungur. Of course, this is a Real Madrid team these days managed by Jurgen Klopp. He left Liverpool, took over the German national team in the save for a World Cup cycle, and has now decided to go and join Real Madrid, the 14-time Champions League winners here in the save universe. Hopefully that's not going to be the case after this upcoming weekend, thanks to that man who is their manager here in game. But you look at that team they've got there on screen, that is almost a dream 11 of players. If you could pick your team at the start of an FM save there, that they do have a lot of very, very good players on that Real Madrid team. Of course, 5-star reputation, as you would expect, but they've got Makoko, they've got Mbappe, they've still got Vinicius Jr. That is an absolutely lethal front three. Musiala in the midfield, as well as Camavinga, a defence there at centre-back of Fofana and Nianzou, Pedro Porro at right back. A couple of names there I don't quite recognise, but no doubt those players are going to be very good. That is a big step up, it looks like, from any team that we have played so far in this year's Champions League. But that is a heck of an effort from us just to get to this stage of the competition. We get 9.06 million for playing in those quarterfinals, and yet again we have guaranteed ourselves another payday for making the semi-finals of the Champions League as well. So as I said, this is going to be a really good financial year for the club as well as the coefficient. But that's what we're going to come back with in tomorrow's episode, the semi-final of the Champions League against Jurgen Klopp's Real Madrid. Also, we did sign a player during today's episode. It's more of a younger player for the future here at the club. It's the player who's currently out injured. He is a young Northern Irish goalkeeper, and Joe Corcoran. He is a player that we did sign off of that NxGen list. You can see they're already valued at 2.8 million to 4.7 million, 2-star current ability, 3.5-star potential. So he might eventually work his way up to being a little bit better than Peter Lervik, but he does look like a decent, promising player who we might give some game time to over Thomas Diaz as our backup goalkeeper from this point forward in the save. But that is the only transfer we have made so far off of that NxGen list, but there are certainly still a lot more in the works, which hopefully we can get over the line around the time of that semi-final coming up in tomorrow's episode. But that will do it. We are into the Champions League semi-finals. If you did enjoy that win over both legs in the quarters against Bayern Munich, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Let me know how you think we're going to get on against Real Madrid tomorrow. It does look like a very, very stacked team there for Jurgen Klopp. It is fair to say, but we'll show you guys that one in tomorrow's episode, the semi-final of the Champions League. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.